Good evening, I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the June 9th, 2021 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. We're conducting this meeting on Zoom. We're broadcasting that Zoom live on our Spectrum Community Access channel, channel 1303. We're also live streaming our meeting, as we always do, on the town's YouTube channel, in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order modifying provisions of the Open Meetings Law to enable local government bodies to continue to meet remotely in a way that is open and accessible to the public. I will say that I do anticipate returning to live meetings of the town board before too long, probably in the month of July, but we'll get you more information on that. In just a couple minutes after our proclamations this evening, we will have our open forum. If you would like to address the town board during the open forum, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either go to the Town of Brighton website, select live streaming, and click on the Zoom link. When you join the Zoom meeting, you'll be placed in a waiting room and later invited into the meeting to ask your question. As always, you can also call at 303-3060, in which case someone will take your call and pass along your questions or your comments to me. We also continue to make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters, Allie and Heather. Thank you both. As a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, as well as all of the materials we're looking at in making our decision, are available on the Town of Brighton webpage. That is www.townofbrighton.org. We will start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple things I want to discuss before we get to the proclamations. First, as is true throughout the state, we are relaxing certain of our COVID restrictions here in Brighton based on state and county data and public health guidance. Brighton Town Hall is now open to the public. All visitors to Town Hall must mask and socially distance while they're in the building. And of course, if you are symptomatic, we ask that you not enter the building and continue to conduct business with the town office that you need to remotely. As I mentioned, we will be issuing a couple of proclamations tonight, and I want to talk about both of them briefly. First, on June 19th of each year, Juneteenth, the anniversary of June 19th, 1865, which was the day Union Army General Order Number 3, freeing the slaves in Texas, was announced in Galveston. Juneteenth is now a New York State holiday. Now, Texas was pretty remote back in those days, and the slaves in Galveston, and for that matter, the people, all of the people in Galveston, did not know about the Emancipation Proclamation, or for that matter, the fact that the Civil War had already ended a couple months earlier. Until Union Major Gordon Granger sailed into Galveston Harbor with all that news. Now, I'm pleased to announce that the town of Brighton will hold our first formal Juneteenth observance on Saturday, June 19th, here at Town Hall, with a Juneteenth flag raising and other commemorations. I want to encourage the public to attend to learn more about the significance of Juneteenth. And as I mentioned, in a moment, I will be reading a proclamation issued by the town celebrating Juneteenth. I want to also encourage the public to attend another event, recognizing another date in American history. In the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, New York City Police raided the Stonewall Inn, located in Greenwich Village. The Stonewall Inn was a gay bar, and at the time, such raids and other forms of harassment of members of what we now know as the LGBTQ+ community were all too commonplace. But that night, the patrons of the Stonewall chose to resist the raid, and the so-called Stonewall riots ensued, which are often thought of as the beginning of the gay liberation movement in this country. What first were known as gay pride marches and activities began to take place around the anniversary of Stonewall. And those marches and activities over time became known simply and more inclusively as Pride. Over the years, Pride has been celebrated in June in most places, but largely in July in the Rochester area. There are events of various types being held around the Rochester area this year in both June and July. And the town of Brighton will be unfurling our Pride flag on the front facade of Town Hall and holding Pride commemorations at 10 a.m. on June 28th, the anniversary of that Stonewall raid. Again, in a couple of minutes, I'll be reading a proclamation that the town is issuing tonight, honoring Pride and recognizing the importance of full equality for all of our LGBTQ+ residents. Brighton has led the way in recognizing LGBTQ+ equality, going back to the time when Brighton led the way in providing employee benefits to same-sex partners of our employees before same-sex marriage was equal in New York. Advocating for equal marriage rights or passing gender to give our transgender residents equal rights before the state itself passed gender. I'm also a proud member of the nationwide organization Mayors Against LGBT Discrimination, and we will continue to work for equality, which is more important than ever in the face of renewed action to limit and take away rights for the LGBTQ+ community in many parts of this country. The town will also be holding, our 4th of July festivities this year. Some of those activities will have to be curtailed due to COVID, but 3 of our most popular activities will be going on as usual. The 4th of July 5K race will be held on the morning of July 4th, this year at Meridian Center Park. Registration for the race is now open with a link on the town's recreation department page. At 8 p.m. that night, the Sky Coasters will take the stage at Meridian Center, and following the Sky Coasters, our fireworks show at about 9:50. COVID social distancing and masking rules will be followed so we can hold these events safely and hold them in accordance with state and county health guidelines. And Robin, I probably stole some of your own report. I apologize for that. But the chief and I and Rec Director Matt Beeman were all on a conference call today with Dr. Mendoza, other supervisors, and we are very confident that we will be able to hold these events safely and celebrate the 4th. I also want to talk briefly about the potential sale of the Brookside School by the Brighton Central School District. I know that's a topic of some discussion and concern, particularly among residents of the Evans Farm neighborhood. First, I want to be clear that the school district has kept us in the loop to the extent that they can in terms of those discussions, so that we've been able to continue to make our planning decisions. We've also had some conversations with the prospective purchaser. I want to make sure everybody knows that although there is a letter of intent between the parties, those parties have not yet, to the best of my knowledge, signed a final purchase and sale contract. So at this point, nothing is finalized between the school district and the prospective purchaser. I want to give everybody comfort that Brighton recreation programming will continue regardless of how discussions proceed with Brookside. I can tell you that the town is working with consultants and discussing possible options, both for the short and the long-term future. But again, I want to say that those are options. I've spoken in the past about the importance of having a community center facility here in Brighton. And I also believe that it would not be prudent to take any immediate rash action without hearing from the community about the programming and the facilities that you believe are important. In the months ahead, we're going to be doing exactly that, working with a consultant that the town board approved earlier this year at a previous town board meeting, and looking at our options, which include remaining at Brookside, co-locating perhaps a different facility, purchasing an existing facility, or building a new community center from the ground up. Each of those options has advantages, and each of those options has some disadvantages. But as we go forward, we will be receiving expert advice, not only from our consultants, but also from you, the community. You are experts in knowing what is important to you and your families when it comes to recreation and community activities here in Brighton. Okay, let me read these proclamations, which we had hoped to screen share, but we're having some technical issues, so I will just read them. First, a proclamation recognizing Juneteenth. Whereas, although President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, it was not until June 19th, 1865, that people in the furthest outposts of slavery learned of their freedom. And whereas on that day, Union Major Gordon Granger announced in Galveston, Texas, that all slaves were now free, saying, quote, "This emancipation involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor," end quote. Whereas the following celebrations by freed slaves in Texas became an annual tradition for generations of descendants and was spread across the country by African Americans moving in search of better economic opportunities. Whereas today, Juneteenth is a recognized holiday in 47 of the 50 states, and momentum is growing towards making it a national holiday. And whereas once the 13th Amendment was ratified on December 18th, 1865, all enslaved people were set free. And yet over the course of the next 156 years, African Americans in this country have fought and continue to fight for the same basic rights enjoyed by the majority of their fellow citizens. Whereas let us stand in solidarity today with the ongoing struggle of African Americans to achieve equality in all facets of society, and recognize that Americans must work together, consciously, intentionally, to dismantle systemic racism. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Brighton Town Council do hereby recognize June 19th, 2021 as Juneteenth, a holiday in the town of Brighton. And we call upon all Brightonians to be open to learning from others to reflect upon their actions, and to strive to put an end to systemic racism, the insidious legacy of the great injustice and cruelty of slavery in this nation. This proclamation is signed this 9th day of January 2021. And next is a proclamation recognizing Pride Month. Whereas, representing people from across all cultures, geographies, incomes, and religions, the LGBTQ+ movement has helped people embrace who they are and love who they want authentically, while pursuing legal protections and expanding civil rights for all. And whereas the LGBTQ+ community has worked tirelessly for respect, equality, and their very right to exist. And while there has been remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality, members of the LGBTQ+ community in the United States and around the world still face an unacceptable level of discrimination and violence, often leaving them unsafe at home or with no home at all. And whereas the town of Brighton proudly supports LGBTQ+ rights, having been a leader among municipalities in granting domestic partner benefits to town employees, advocating for marriage equality, and making discrimination against transgender individuals in employment, housing, accommodation, and other areas illegal in Brighton, prior to the state's passage of the Marriage Equality Act and gender. And whereas a time of celebration and reflection, Pride Month reminds us to remain vigilant and continue to take action to advance the cause of equality for all members of the diverse LGBTQ+ community and for all Americans, especially in this contentious time as hard-won rights are under siege in many states. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of our Brighton Town Council do hereby proclaim June 2021 as Pride Month in the town of Brighton, and urge all citizens to commit to working for equal rights for all and to uphold the simple truth that equal rights are human rights. And this proclamation is signed the 9th day of June 2021. Okay, we will now proceed with our open forum. Again, if you would like to participate in the open forum, you can join the waiting room by going to the live stream page on the town's website, click on the Zoom link, and you'll be put into the waiting room and then admitted to speak with us. Or you can call 303-3060. That's 303-3060. At the moment, nobody has yet indicated that they want to speak during the open forum, but we'll give people a moment or two to join in. Chris, I would ask you for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda.
Can I have a second, please?
Second. Second, Christine.
It's going to be that kind of night, huh? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Again, I want to give people the opportunity to come into the waiting room if they want to address the board during the open forum. But in the meantime, we will go ahead with our one public hearing tonight, and then at the end of that public hearing, again, see if there's anybody who wants to speak on the open forum. And of course, if anybody wants to speak during the public hearing. Dan, has the legal notice been given in the matter of the proposed equipment purchase for the Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, the public hearing to be held in accordance with Section 202B of the New York State Town Law?
It has. We're published in the May 12th edition of the Post.
Thank you very much. Then I declare this public hearing to be open, and I'll ask Mike Guyon to just talk briefly about why we're holding this public hearing tonight.
Thank you, Supervisor. In 2021, this budget year, the sewer district had budgeted the purchase of a Ford pickup truck. The sewer district is a special district, and as required by law, Town Law 202B, we're required to have a public hearing before we make a purchase out of the sewer district, out of the special district. I have provided, as part of the correspondence, we've provided an estimate for the truck. The estimate for the new truck was approximately $42,000. You'll see we're asking for an expenditure and appropriation of about $45,000. The reason that is slightly higher is the price we received for the truck in February of this year. Things have changed a little bit, so we anticipate there may be a slight increase in the cost of the truck.
Thanks, Mike. I would also note that we continue to await further guidance about the scope of the permitted expenditures under ARPA, the new federal COVID relief package. It may be possible that the purchase of this vehicle will constitute sewer infrastructure that may be reimbursed from the ARPA funds that the town will be entitled to receive. At this point, that isn't clear. Guidance continues to come out about the scope of sewer improvements, so we will wait to see whether that's the case. But even if it is, we are required to hold this public hearing. I am advised that there is nobody currently in the waiting room to speak about the public hearing. Is there anybody on the town board or anybody else here that has any questions or comments concerning this public hearing? I would also note, by the way, that when we take action on this, we will be declaring the purchase to be a type 2 action under SEEKR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. No comments from the board or anyone else, and no comments from the public. Therefore, I declare this public hearing to be closed, and I'll ask Councilmember Werner for to make the motion to adopt the resolution.
Thanks, Bill. I move that we adopt the resolution for the purchase of equipment for the Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District in accordance with Section 202B of the New York State Town Law.
Can I have a second, please?
Second, Jason.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. And again, it appears that we have nobody wishing to speak during the open forum. So we will continue on with the agenda. Can I have a motion, Robin, to receive and file the communications, please?
Bill, I offer this motion to receive and file the communications.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Tonight we have two resignations, one from part-time officer James Noble. I'll let the chief talk about Mr. Noble in a moment. One from Brett Carlock in our Public Works Department, a GIS analyst. We also have the correspondence from Jack Moffett, the clerk of the Monroe County Legislature, with the proposed Monroe County 2022 through 2027 capital improvement program, which will be on file in the town clerk's office.
Did you say will be?
Oh, it is on file.
No,
Sorry.
I don't have, that's why.
Oh, you don't have it,
I
okay.
have not seen
All
that
right.
yet.
Well, I guess once it's received tonight, we'll put
Gotcha.
it in your hands in the morning. Thanks. Correspondence from June Cuthbert of Idlewood Road, expressing concerns about the Brookside School purchase. Chief, if you want to say a few words about Mr. Noble?
Sure. Yeah, Jim, he was part-time working in the court when we had an unarmed format over there. He started in 2018 for us. He's got a lengthy public service history, retired from the Rochester Police Department. He served as chief of police in a couple small municipalities. He's still doing volunteer fireman work, actually, and it's after 35 years in public service, it's time for him to hang up his belt, and he's going to enjoy his retirement life in Florida, ultimately. But great employee, always had a smile on his face, and we'll certainly miss him.
Thanks, Chief. I've just gotten a text. Apparently there are people in the waiting room who want to be let into the meeting. Bridget, I'm not sure whether they're showing up for you, but I did just get a text from someone that there are people who want to come into the waiting room, I believe, to speak to the open forum. But if anybody wishes to speak on the public hearing we just held, we can move to reopen the public hearing. So I just want to let you know that, Bridget. And
yes.
Okay.
For the folks who are in the waiting room, have you been unable to respond just so I can know what your name is and send you?
I've gotten
through?
a text from one person.
Okay. Do you have the first name there or not?
Cecilia.
All right. I will send Cecilia through. And she's connecting now.
Okay. But apparently
Oh.
it sounds like there are others.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can just let them in if you like.
Sure. Yeah, you can. Why don't you let them in? Yeah, you can let them all in.
Okay.
But we'll start, Cecilia, with you. If you and as others are recognized to speak, if you would state your name and address, please, for the record. And I would ask, let me just ask everybody to please mute your phones. Please mute, otherwise we're going to have a problem, except for the person who is speaking, and that is Cecilia. Please, everybody, mute your phones. Otherwise we're going to have a... Thanks. Okay, Cecilia, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for also checking your message.
Okay.
I
Cecilia,
wasn't expecting
go
that. Okay, great. Well, my name is Cecilia Lester, and I'm a Brighton resident. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you for also checking your message. You know what? I'm getting feedback.
I'm getting feedback too.
My name is Cecilia Lester, and I'm a Brighton resident. Thank you. Thank you for also checking your message. You know what?
I think the problem is you may be speaking and watching the video, watching the live stream. So if you turn the live stream volume off, that will probably fix it.
Let me see if I can figure that out. I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
It's okay.
Would you like to go to another speaker, Supervisor, at this point?
Oh,
And then we can
sure,
switch
yes, I
back
see
to-
Cecilia's asking me to do that. All right, let's go to, I see Ellen on my screen. Ellen, if you can unmute, and maybe you can, if you're listening on another device, if you can turn the volume down on that and share your name and address with us, please.
All right, great. Can everyone hear me? Fine.
Yes.
All right, thank you. My name is Ellen Duncan. I'm a Brighton resident at 112 North St. Regis Drive. And in addition to being a Brighton resident, I'm a member of BRAVE, Brighton Residents Against Violence, and I'm active with Rock Love Will End Abortion. And I'm calling about the new Planned Parenthood that's slated to go into the Westfall Park Medical Center in Brighton. As a member of Rock Love Will End Abortion, I am one of many people who are on the sidewalk in front of the University of Planned Parenthood every day that they are open, reaching out to those going in with offers of real help and support, help that they will not find in Planned Parenthood, like material and financial help and ongoing support both during and after their pregnancy. But basically, what does this mean for our community, Brighton, and surrounding businesses? It means that if a new Planned Parenthood is open in Brighton, there will be sidewalk advocates on Westfall and South Clinton during all business hours, every single business day of the week. Based on the impact our presence has had at the University at Planned Parenthood, I want to give you an idea of the impact this will have in Brighton. Number one, disruption to the community and the numerous neighboring medical facilities. Like I said, since we offer support that Planned Parenthood doesn't provide, we will regularly be on the busy intersection of Westfall and South Clinton with signs and using voice amplifiers. There will also be increased noise from cars honking. University Ave neighbors have made numerous complaints due to the numbers of cars who pass by and honk, whether it's in support or opposition of us. We also hold separate large gatherings outside of the University Ave Planned Parenthood to raise awareness, and we'll do the same in Brighton. Number two, it will likely mean a higher police presence and putting a strain on police resources. Police are stationed regularly at the University Ave Planned Parenthood. Police have also stationed themselves on University Ave for the sole purpose of pulling people over for honking. Neighbors also needlessly call the police multiple times, which forces the police to respond to the scene only to have their precious time wasted for nothing. And lastly, there will be increased ambulance calls. I have witnessed with my own eyes multiple ambulances called to the University Ave Planned Parenthood, particularly on the surgical abortion days. Planned Parenthood is not something that we need in Brighton, and I am asking you to not allow a new one here. Thank you.
Thank you. Cecilia, are you now able to join us? Looks like you're unmuted.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have my 17-month-old in the room, so I apologize in advance.
Wonderful.
If he's loud.
That's okay.
And I hope okay, there we go. So my name is Cecilia Lester, and I actually live in the same neighborhood. I live in Homeacres, and I actually have a comment and a question in regard to equity in Brighton. But I actually have a lot in common with Ellen as well. Anyway, I would say that despite sharing a border with the city of Rochester, our community is de facto racially segregated. 40% of the city of Rochester residents are Black, but only 6% of Brighton residents are, well below the national or New York State averages. That would seem to be a problem worth addressing. However, a proposed Planned Parenthood facility in Brighton would only exacerbate these racial disparities by welcoming a corporation whose $1.7 billion a year revenue depends upon ending poor Black lives. In 2018, consistent with the yearly average, Planned Parenthood killed an estimated 127,000 young Black lives. If Brighton is looking to offer a healthcare facility consistent with its values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we should embrace a federally qualified healthcare center, which does not commit abortions, but which does provide even more comprehensive services than Planned Parenthood at low to no cost to individuals. Federally qualified healthcare centers do not prey upon the poverty and desperation of their patients as Planned Parenthood does. 86% of Planned Parenthood's non-government revenue comes from abortion, and this has been verified by Cecilia Richards in front of Congress. This amounts to hundreds of millions of dollars every year. 73% of women who seek abortion do so under financial duress. This comes from Guttmacher. Rather than an act of free agency, poverty often coerces Black women to choose abortion, and Planned Parenthood capitalizes on this. Brighton is a rich, white, progressive town. Shouldn't its citizens and leaders refuse to provide a home to a predatory, racist organization like Planned Parenthood, and instead focus on crafting policies that would encourage Black families to make their homes here? Can you pledge today that you won't allow Planned Parenthood to take up residence in Brighton? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Apple, James Apple.
Thank you. I am the Messianic Rabbi at Congregation Shema Israel, which has just recently moved into the former Free Methodist Church, Edgewood Free Methodist Church facility on Edgewood Avenue. So I am here to speak in support of Ellen and Cecilia from a spiritual point of view. There are many in Brighton who are believers in the Bible, and the Bible clearly, very clearly states that at the point of conception, the child is a human being. And so to me and to many others, the act of abortion, the support of abortion is very simply murder. And I am speaking for my congregation, which is absolutely behind that position, and many other congregations, to say we would not want to see another abortion facility in the Brighton area. We appreciate all of the arguments on both sides, but we believe that there is a higher law at work here, which is that you shall not murder. And even if we have a disagreement over whether that child just after it's been conceived is a human being or not, my own opinion is that we should err on the side of it could be, and we should not be allowing that to happen in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Bridget, are there any other speakers in the waiting room?
No, there is no one left in the waiting room.
Okay, and obviously, I guess no one who was also intending to speak on the public hearing. So we will move on. Thank you to those who've spoken tonight. We'll move on to committee reports. First, the Community Services Committee. Robin.
Thank you so much, Supervisor. The Community Services Committee was not scheduled to meet in the intervening timeframe since the last town board meeting, but I do have some updates from our Parks and Recreation Department heads. From our Recreation Department, summer program registration is ongoing. Spaces are filled on a first come, first served basis. So we ask that you please do check the website, your email, and the Recreation Department Facebook page to stay up to date with all of our latest happenings. And we'd love to have you join us this summer for our programming. And our Brighton Farmers Market summer season is in full swing. It began on May 9th and it will extend through November 21st. It is on Sundays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It has been really busy there in the Brighton High School parking lot at 1150 Winton Road. But we do continue to prioritize the health and safety of our vendors and customers. So masks are required if unvaccinated, voluntary, but encouraged for everyone, regardless of vaccine status. And again, we will begin our summer concert series. The bands at Buckland will return for a 6-week long season of concerts. They will be on Tuesdays, beginning July 6th and extending through August 10th. And the time will be 6:30 to 8 p.m. That will be at the Buckland Park Pavilion, 1341 Westfall Road. The full schedule and details may be found online, but we will be featuring performances from the Brighton Symphony Orchestra, Mambo Kings Latin Jazz Quintet, the soul, pop, and R&B tunes of the Click, reggae from Noble Vibes, blues and boogie woogie from the Hannah PK Band, and Beatle cover tunes from 8 Days a Week. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, Wegmans, ESL Federal Credit Union, St. John's Communities, and Howard Hanna Real Estate Services for continuing to support this endeavor. Again, I want to remind everybody, if you do need something, if you have a question, or if you're looking for lodge availability, or perhaps you need something that we haven't even anticipated from the rec department, we encourage you to give us a call at 585-784-5260, extension 0, and we'd be happy to assist you. You can always find us on our Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Brighton Recreation, or www.townofbrighton.org/rec, REC is our URL. And an update from our Parks Department. Other than the few highlights that I'll be enumerating, the focus has been to stay on top of park maintenance as usage of our parks continues to soar. Lodges have officially been reopened with half occupancy, and staff continues to monitor groups closely for compliance. Unfortunately, I've mentioned in the past that groups have blatantly ignored our occupancy mandates, and so far the majority of May and June renters have been in compliance, keeping our fingers crossed. However, our park superintendent does report that we're starting to get a fair amount of pushback. Again, our rules are for safety of staff and the community and are in compliance with county guidelines and continue to be updated. So we ask that you do adhere to our maximum occupancy requirements. Park staff have remained extremely busy with various projects and ongoing maintenance at our facilities, and staff will be shifting focus to trail maintenance as of July 4th. Our supervisor already discussed our July 4th celebration, and we hope that you will join us for the 5K race, the Sky Coasters performance, and fireworks. Our next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on next Wednesday, June 16th at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center, multi-purpose room. As always, members of the public are invited to attend, and we will be masking and adhering to limited occupancy standards. So if you do have an interest in attendance, we ask that you please do contact our recreation department at, again, 585-784-5260, extension 0, just to let us know that you'll be joining us so that we can safely accommodate everyone. That's all I have. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Robin. And Matt Beeman, our park superintendent, and I spoke as recently as today about lodge limits. And, you know, the limits that are in place for the lodges are traditionally have been fire-based. The goal is to get people out in case of a fire. And of course, those are one-story buildings. They have multiple access points. And so limits were set. The risk here of a virus that spreads in the air through aerosols is a different sort of risk. And for the moment, anyway, we believe that those lower numbers are appropriate to address the current risk, the virus risk. We're going to keep looking at that. We know the numbers are coming down, and we do want people to, be able to use the facilities, but we also know that, if it rains, people will have to be in the facility. And so we're going to keep looking, but for now, yes, we are still at half capacity for those lodges. And again, thanks for your report. Jason, finance.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Wednesday, June 2nd. The two major items for discussion were, first, our committee reviewed with Mike DeBatz the executive summary of the draft 2020 audited financial statement and the 2020 single audit as prepared by the independent audit and accounting firm of Mengel, Metzger and Barr, the Raymond F. Wager CPA division, along with reports on agreed upon procedures for the town clerk, receiver of taxes, the justice court, and special reviews. Mike DeBatz presented the audit at our town board meeting that was held on May 26th. This was an opportunity to go into detail of the executive summary and give the committee opportunity to ask questions. Next, the draft CIP, our capital improvement plan, was distributed to the FASC members for review. The next step in that process is that the CIP will be distributed amongst our budget review task force, which is anticipated to begin soon. And then our work in reviewing and finalizing the CIP will then happen after that, hopefully over the summer. Our next meeting will occur next Wednesday, June 16th. We will meet at 8:30 in the morning in the Town Hall main auditorium. The public is invited to attend. However, we do ask that if you do plan on attending, please contact Town Hall. Let us know that your plans to attend so that we can make appropriate arrangements for social distancing. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Public safety, Christine.
Well, I am delighted to report that Public Safety Committee met in person yesterday morning in the auditorium at Town Hall. It was very good to see at least the upper half of everyone's face around the table, as well as community members who attended in person to share some of their thoughts, concerns, and proposals for their for safety in their neighborhood. The agencies provided updates, which I will share now. Brighton Ambulance, Brighton Volunteer Ambulance responded to a total of 576 requests for service throughout the month of May, with a total of 440 being within the Brighton Ambulance District. May requests for service were up 32.9% from month-over-month requests in 2020. Total requests for service for 2021 are now at 2,722, an increase over 2020 of 16.9%. The COVID-19 related responses continue to decline. Very good news. The Brighton Volunteer Ambulance Base is continuing to limit visitations, even in spite of the declining COVID-19 cases in the community. However, they do reiterate that all loan closet services are still available. We do see from time to time folks in the community asking where they can get short-term use of things like canes or walkers. Brighton Volunteer Ambulance has a supply of that equipment available for short-term loan. Check the Brighton Volunteer Ambulance website for more information and what's available. We did not receive a report from the Brighton Fire Department this month. I anticipate we'll see them next month. Public Works, and I'm sure Chris Werner will report more in detail on this, but Public Works reported that paving and chip sealing program is underway throughout town. If your street has already received special treatment, I can guarantee that you are happier about the smoother roadways, and that makes for safer roadways. The LED lighting grant application has been completed, and approvals just need to be in place for replacement of the town lighting fixtures. Lighted roadways make our town safer. And sidewalk work along French Road by French Road School and the canal is scheduled for mid-June. There may be some potential delay due to raw material shortages, but this long-awaited project for the safety of walkers of all ages by FRES will happen this summer. Very exciting news. Brighton Police Department shared more news of recent retirements and also good news of promotions, making several department positions available. And Chief Catholi and his team are working on finding high quality replacements. Accreditation is upcoming for the department. Paperwork is about ready to be submitted to the agency for review. And calls for service year to date are at 22,856 as compared to last year to date, 19,800 calls. The department assumes that the increase this year is due to COVID restrictions being limited or modified. So more folks are out and about. Chief, is there anything else you'd like to add to that report? Last, the Rochester Fire Department, which serves a portion of Brighton, West Brighton, reported that there were 44 incidents in West Brighton in the month of May, and that would be a total of 251 incidents for all of 2021 to date. Engine 8 responded to a total of 65 incidents in May, with a total of 329 incidents for 2021. There were no alarms of any significance during the month of May, and Rochester Fire Department, like all of the agencies serving Brighton, continues to monitor the current COVID-19 response guidelines, and they respond safely as recommended. In matters of old business, in front of the Public Safety Committee, there is continuation of discussion and review of school speed limits, speed zones around our school properties. We're hopeful that we will be able to continue that review and establish some consistency adjacent to all of the schools in town for the safety of students, especially as more and more students are walking to school, as the districts have requested less reliance on public school bus transportation in light of COVID. There's also the matter of traffic safety on Elmwood Avenue at David Avenue and Johns Arbor Drive near the senior living community. We're still awaiting some correspondence from St. John's community seeking their support towards perhaps installing a traffic light at that intersection for control and safety of folks, especially people making left turns from Elmwood into Johns Arbor Drive. That matter is still pending. And in new business, there was a request from a resident for no parking along Schilling Road at the roundabout and turnaround area. The committee did review the information packet provided by the resident with the concern about the impact of safety due to parking along the cul-de-sac and dead-end areas. There will be follow-up from the committee, specifically from me, to the resident who has that concern. And we'll look at some other means for addressing some of the parking challenges at that spot. It's always trying to strike that balance between where to put your vehicle and what might have some safety impact on your neighborhood. And we also had residents from Brittany Circle join us. Hyo Park and his daughter, as well as two other residents and one other young resident from the neighborhood, came to share their concerns about speeding traffic in their neighborhood. Mr. Park has done a phenomenal job in contacting his neighbors and working with them on how to get folks to slow down, both the residents and delivery vehicles to the neighborhood, and visitors. Through a lot of thoughtful work, they have determined that they intend to keep activating their street and using it as safely as possible, but recognizing that bicycles and pedestrians belong on the street. But they would have come to the town seeking a children at play sign at the entrance to the neighborhood. Commissioner Guyon is going to do a little research on the most appropriate sign available through the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is the civil engineers Bible and resource for all things signage related. And I believe he had some recommendations already just before this meeting. Mike, did you want to share that? I didn't have a chance to look closely at your message to us yet, but if you have.
Christine, I think it's probably best we just take a look at it. It's just something we want to take a look at as far as that signage.
All right.
I agree.
Good. Thank you very much. But kudos to Mr. Park and his neighbors for working very thoughtfully together on how to make their neighborhood street as safe as possible. There was the matter of the Country Club of Rochester and their annual fireworks event. Fire Marshal Roth brought that to the attention of the committee on Thursday, June 24th at 9:45 p.m. The Country Club of Rochester will be setting off their fireworks for a very short fireworks display. They have mailed their neighbors a courtesy postcard alerting them to that, and hopefully alerting the neighbors to care for their pets during that short celebration. Those of you who are not immediately adjacent to the Country Club of Rochester may hear the fireworks, and hopefully your pets are not too disturbed in the short time that that celebration is going on. The information about that will be posted on the Town of Brighton webpage as well, just as an alert and reminder to neighbors. Residents in the community, the Jewish community in Brighton have brought concerns about recent anti-Semitic rhetoric in certain public forums and their sense of impact on their personal safety. Chief Catholdi reassured that there is currently no known threat to the Jewish community in Brighton, but he does keep a very close eye on that and collaborates with other local law enforcement agencies to monitor that closely. And there is no space in Brighton for any kind of hateful rhetoric against anyone. The last matter that was discussed was concerns about racing vehicles on the interstates that cut through Brighton. Brighton is blessed with easy access to 390, 490, and 590. And in the summer months, many residents notice an uptick in speeding vehicles on the expressways. The expressways are not under the jurisdiction of the Brighton Police Department. However, that speeding is unsafe. Call 911 if you hear or observe reckless driving on the expressways, and the appropriate agency will respond to that. Brighton does not engage in pursuit of speeding vehicles. The police department has put a close focus, though, on the gathering spots for those road racers, where they collect up before they take off on the expressways. And that has had an impact in reducing the incidences of that late night joyriding that is dangerous and disturbing to the neighbors. The next meeting of the Public Safety Committee will be Tuesday, July 13th at 8 o'clock in the Town Hall Auditorium. And it looks like we'll get to see one another in person again. If members of the community have any public safety matters to be brought to our attention, you can submit your matters in advance, or you can show up and present them to us in the moment. You don't need to be present if you submit your matters in advance. We all recognize that 8 a.m. can be a very busy time, and it may not be possible to attend in person. Submit your matters in advance, and we will follow up on those matters with you. All the information about the committee can be found at townofbrighton.org/public safety committee. And that is all.
Thank you, Christine. We'll move on now to new business and the reading and approval of claims. Jason.
Bill, perhaps Public Works.
Public Works, the apple of my eye, my goodness. Chris Warner, Public Works Committee. We've heard so much about Public Works already, but I know you've got more.
Been a few comments, but Public Works did meet on June the 1st, last week for the first time in person. We had a Winter's Farmer Market update. The improvements to the barn are complete. I stopped over there as well. It's a terrific building. It's the first element of the Winter's Farm Market project, but also going to be for general use there as well. There's going to be the construction of a building annex and a second wing. We've received a proposal from Insight Architecture to design the remaining building improvements, and we will be in contact with the grant administrator to secure the final funding before we proceed. Midland Avenue Sanitary Sewer District has a low-pressure pump system. The applicant is installing a low-pressure pump, and the town staff is working to standardize that pump system for future applications. 5G regulations are under review by the town. The FCC has established certain restrictions on local governments to aid in the deployment of the cells throughout the country. And we're limited in regulatory fees that we can collect for the 5G small cell towers. And additionally, a shot clock deadline applies to all new 5G installation applications by telecoms. Town staff hopes to finalize a draft copy of the 5G regulations by the end of the month, and we will distribute to the Public Works Committee members for review and comments. The Hibiscus Drive Refuge District has been applied for by the residents there, who have demonstrated that approximately 65% so far of the properties favor the formation of a refuge district in that area. And town staff will continue to advance that district formation. The lawn and garden debris policy was reviewed and submitted for comments, as well as the snow and ice control policy. We continue to define sensible salting and provide treatment parameters to be used to control snow and ice in the town with limited use of salt. The town HVAC request for proposal has been completed, and an evaluation was done in 2017, replacing the existing system. Town staff would like to see the committee consider a broader approach and scope of the project because of current deficiencies at Town Hall and possible future renovations. A broader RFP has been drafted and is to be submitted to the committee. These improvements are eligible for ARPA funding, and there may also be a CEC as well as NYSERDA grant funding for these types of improvements. So we look forward to seeing those, that further RFP. Highway employment update. Steve Zimmer has assumed the role of Deputy Highway Superintendent, and Bill Hafner and Mark Haygreen have been promoted to foreman positions. Jason has been promoted to Steve Zimmer's previous position as sewer inspector, and we're interviewing for 2 laborer positions. We hope to select a laborer candidate candidates this week. Sanitary sewer dedication. There are 2 sanitary sewer projects being offered for dedication to the town of Brighton on Edgewood, and also a second extension along West Henrietta Road installed some time ago. Both will follow the town's dedication process and will be formally submitted to the town board. There's an RG&E project along CSX rail line. The project includes the installation of underground utilities along the rail line from approximately Blossom to Linden Avenue. This project requires EPOD approvals, and there are concerns regarding the construction access to the CSX line and the addition of truck traffic through a residential neighborhood. RG&E has agreed not to use the point of access that will result in truck traffic in the residential areas. As Christine mentioned, French Road Sidewalk project includes the installation of sidewalks along the south side of French Road from Edgewood to the canal path. And construction is to begin, we hope, in mid-June, depending upon availability of concrete. The Climate Action Plan RFP has been developed by town staff and the Sustainability Oversight Committee and is ready to go out to bid. Authorization for the project has been obtained previously. Authorization to go out for bid has previously been obtained. Stormwater annual report. A report regarding the annual stormwater activities has been submitted to the New York Department of Environmental Conservation to comply with their stormwater requirements. The town is available. That report is available to the public and open for comments. You can find it both at the library and on our website. The Willard Road and Sanitary Sewer dedication project to serve the Pinnacle Hill subdivision will be offered for dedication to the town board. And the town has received additional funding for roadway improvements, and we're currently reviewing additional roadways that are prepared or can be prepared in short order to add to our 2021 paving list. And our next in-person meeting will be July 6th at 9:00 a.m. The public is invited to attend, but please make prior reservations if you would, please. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much, Chris. Now we'll turn to Jason for the reading and approval of claims.
All right. And Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $345,758.39. Notable claims include to the Depository Trust Company in the amount of $95,315.64, of which $90,000 was principal for payment of 2015 bond principal and interest. And this bond covered highway equipment, being a sweeper and dump truck, the Salt Barn roof repair, Fairfield Drainage Culvert Reline Project, and the East Avenue Sewer Reline. Also to Greene County Commercial Bank, the amount of $81,630, representing payment of 2016 bond principal, which was $75,000, and the rest was interest. And this particular bond covered the Highland Crossing Trail, a flusher truck and dump truck for the Highway and Sewer Department, and also the HVAC system for the Brighton Memorial Library. Next claim was to Time Warner Communications in the amount of $4,687.31 for internet connection services for April/May 2021 as per board approved contract. And finally, to Waste Management of New York in the amount of $88,939.43, representing payment for refuse district and town refuse collection services. Of that amount, $87,734.11 was for the refuse districts. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. We have two bond resolutions, and in a moment I'll ask Chris to do both of those because they're both for public works related matters. These are actually they're mulligans. We had to do these. There was a glitch in publication of some of the documents relating to this, so we're not really borrowing a second time. And in fact, as I think I said when we first adopted these, based on the amounts that we plan to borrow this year, we will continue as we did last year to reduce the overall amount of principal outstanding on town, because we'll be paying off more debt. You just heard in the claims, a couple of those principal pay downs will be paying off more than we borrow. So that's always good news and indicative of the strength of our financial situation. So Chris, I'll ask you to do these two bond resolutions, make the motions, in two separate
Very good. Bill, first, I move that we approve bond resolution in the amount of $447,000 for the purchase of certain highway equipment by adopting the resolution before us.
Second, Jason.
Jason, any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye, and the second one, Chris.
The next item is to approve a bond resolution in the amount of $145,000 for the financing of road improvements at the intersection of Hillside, Ashborne, and Chelmsford Roads. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
Discussion on that matter. It's a project that I know is going to be very popular in the Virginia Colony neighborhood.
It goes right around the corner from my neighborhood here. I go through there regularly and really look forward to smooth paving.
Great. We have a motion and a second. If there are no further discussions, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Robin.
Thanks, Bill. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with the Sky Coasters for the July 4th celebration in an amount not to exceed $3,800. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
Well, who doesn't like the Sky Coasters? Any discussion? We've already talked about performance again this year for the 4th. If there is nothing further, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. And who doesn't like fireworks? Christine.
Well, some of the puppy dogs in town don't, but the rest of us are pretty much in favor of them. This next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Young Explosives for the July 4th celebration in an amount not to exceed $11,400. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
And a
Second,
please.
Jason.
Jason, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, just one last item, as I do pretty much every meeting during the course of the leaf or debris pickup season. I do want to talk about debris pickup a little bit. Of course, as you know, maps are available on the town website, so you will know where our crews are, both our bulk pickup crews and our containerized crews. And I really want to talk about the containerizing element of that a little bit tonight, because what we know is that we can operate more efficiently and get your debris picked up as quickly as possible if you containerize your debris as much as possible, particularly in small quantities. It really delays the operations if we get small little bundles of twigs and a rose bush or two, for example, because the bulk pickup methodology is designed for larger quantities. So if you can put those small items in containers, whether they're the brown bags or a refuse can, that will make pickup a whole lot more efficient. Those containerized debris will get picked up more quickly. It'll keep your neighborhood cleaner. It'll prevent drainage potential issues when you have large amounts of bulk debris in the street. And again, if you have large amounts, yes, you can leave it in bulk, but not in the street. Leave it on the tree lawn between your sidewalk and the street, or if you don't have a sidewalk, just right on the lawn in front of the street. And again, just a reminder, particularly for folks that are new to Brighton, We do not pick up grass clippings. Grass clippings preferably should be left in your own lawn to provide some extra nutrition for your lawn. And again, we also, if you containerize, please remember, no plastic bags. That, again, just causes us a problem for our mulching process. So containerize, yes. Plastic bags, no. Okay, matters of the town attorney. Ken.
No, I have nothing this evening, but thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you. Matters of the clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the board. And I don't believe we have any reason to go into executive session. So can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn, Bill.
Thank you, Chris and Christine. Well, the Chris and Christine show. Dan, please call the roll on that.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Thanks, everybody, for participating tonight. Again, a reminder, our next board meeting will be Wednesday night, June 23rd, 7 p.m., still remote. And we hope to see you then. Have a great evening, everybody.
Good night.